Hi everyone, my name is Chris, and welcome to Anime Debate, the show where we put anime head to head in a knockout, drag-out fight. We review them, we break them down, and we tell you ultimately which one is best. This week we've got two titans in the anime world, Dragon Ball Z versus One Piece. Now, originally I was going to do Dragon Ball Super versus One Piece, but popular demand said Z was the one you guys wanted to see me compare. But if you want to see me do Super, let me know down below in the comments, and I'll consider it depending on the response. Now, let's dig into this by giving you guys the plot of each series. The plot of Dragon Ball Z is fairly simple. An alien comes to Earth, he wants to destroy it, but then he gets amnesia, so instead he tries to save it, and he does, several times. He dies, comes back, dies again, comes back, I don't even know how many times. The Dragon Balls are these 7 magical balls you can use to grant any wish. He gets them, he uses them, he gets his wish granted, and other people want the balls as well. There's a conflict there that later gets resolved because the balls aren't even important anymore, and it's all about the fights. Ultimately, this is what this show is, and what it devolves into is a pure and utter fighting match. Tournaments, fights, aliens, androids, monsters, magic, all of it. It all comes together in a culmination of a character that is able to turn his enemies into friends and then fighting with those people. The show used to be about adventure and collection, and it's not anymore by the end of it. It's just about fighting, power levels, and getting stronger. But if that's your cup of tea, you might like Dragon Ball Z. Now let's move over to One Piece. One Piece is about a kid who wants to be the pirate king. Yo ho ho, and a bottle of gum gum. He takes some things and gets stronger and power levels and fights as well. But there's definitely more adventure to be had here. He has a similar goal of being able to find a treasure of sorts, and you get to follow him as he goes on those adventures. After a while, that becomes less of the focus as well, and becomes more about the fights. There are still subplots abound throughout the series. If you want my honest opinion between the two, the plot comparison is real easy to make. Dragon Ball has a stronger plot in the beginning, but doesn't carry it through. One Piece has an equally as strong, if not similar plot, but continues to carry it throughout the series. And for me, that adventure aspect is what really drove me to both of these initially. And the fact that only one could hold on to it tells me the clear winner. And that winner is One Piece. Let's move on to characters. Now, for me, a character battle is more about the ensemble. But it also is carried heavily by its main character. Now, in this situation, we have Luffy and we have Goku. And to be fair, Luffy may or may not be a Goku clone. But I think that the major issue that we run into with both shows is that they're both fairly one-dimensional. So to judge a show based on them isn't going to exactly be fair. So I have to look at it as an ensemble cast situation. And if you want my honest opinion, and that's what you're here for, I'm going to tell you that Dragon Ball does a really good job at developing its characters. One Piece does a good job of keeping them familiar. They do go through changes, but for the most part, they are who they were when the show started. But on the side of Dragon Ball, I'd be lying to you if I said that the character development and the way that people change is immensely impressive. You have villains who were originally trying to destroy the Earth and kill people, now fighting for its survival. You have characters who once didn't care about anyone but themselves, now caring about everyone, even beyond their own pride. I think that is one of the things that keeps the show strong and keeps people watching it, is knowing that Dragon Ball Z has this level of development that isn't shown in very many shonen. Typically in shonen, your character might get a new change of clothes, they might get a new power up, but they are rarely shown to evolve as characters. Goku himself is a mainstay and doesn't change much himself, but the people around him change. And that is super important, no pun intended. With Luffy, I feel like everyone has their own path, their own development. but no one is necessarily a strong player. I instantly think about iconic characters like Vegeta or Piccolo when I think of anime. I don't do the same thing when I think of One Piece. I just don't. And for that reason, mostly development, I'm going to give the win here to Dragon Ball Z. I mean, maybe I'm just biased. I love me some Vegeta, but I can't think of a character that I love over on One Piece anywhere near as much as I love the development and just the pure love that is given to these characters by the creator, or the mangaka, if you will. Now let's move over into animation. Now this one is tricky because One Piece has been going on for a very long time. We're almost at the point where we have 1,000 episodes of One Piece. So because this is my show, I'm going to bend the rules a little bit, and I'm going to throw in a little bit of Dragon Ball Super in here to keep things fair for Dragon Ball Z. The Dragon Ball Z started in the 80s, and the animation definitely shows. It's grittier, it's falling apart, and if you're going to compare it head to head, I mean, I'm just going to be real here. I think that One Piece has better animation, especially as time goes on. Dragon Ball Super definitely loses a lot of points. I mean, that grittier, dirtier animation they had in Dragon Ball Z fit its aesthetic extremely well, but One Piece just does something that Z doesn't, and even Super doesn't. Like they still keep their humanity, the shadows, and the use of color, and the consistency stays there even as the show moves away from hand-drawn animation into digital. It just does a really good job of staying consistent and improving in the places it needs to improve, instead of just making changes that are unnecessary like Dragon Ball Z did when it moved over to Super. If I'm going to compare them head to head, I'm going to just still tell you that One Piece has superior animation. And even if we're not talking animation, talking about character models or even just the general art style, I am still drawn much more so to what Luffy and his friends put down. I mentioned this in another video, but over time, the characters and the models over on the side of Dragon Ball Z changed mid-show. Like, characters went from having very, like, round faces to angular, sharp edges everywhere. And it wasn't a thing where, like, oh, they just got older. This would happen during the course of a single season, and it never really made sense. While Luffy and his friends over in One Piece did have small changes over time, it didn't happen as jarringly and as often. Their models were definitely followed much, much, much closer. And for that reason, One Piece wins the animation debate. Now let's move into music, which is one of my favorite things in anime. Now, if we're talking about music, you gotta think about the fact that music is extremely important to set tone, set mood, and help you along with the feels. When things get tense, you gotta feel it in the music. When things are somber, you gotta feel it in the music. When things are meant to be funny, you gotta feel it in the music. Both of these shows have themes that are iconic, that we all know and we can all look to when we want to invoke certain emotions. But on top of that, we also have OPs. That's opening themes, if you don't know. And while, let's be real here, there are only slight changes to the themes in terms of musical output on the side of Dragon Ball Z, you gotta say that whether it be dub or sub, Dragon Ball has iconic music. Music that you don't gloss over. Music that you actually don't even want to skip. Growing up as a kid watching this stuff, I never wanted to skip either opening. Not a single iota. And I'm talking a lot about the animation here, for the record, people, because the music pretty much stayed the same. When I was a kid, you could watch Dragon Ball Z in English dub, and they played, Rock the Dragon, Dragon Ball Z. And then later, when the dub switched over to another company, they had a different one, which was still good. Wasn't Rock the Dragon, but it was still good. You had Chala Head. What up, Chala Head? That was great too. And to be real, I heard that on Spanish language TV, and I was like, wait, what is this? This is different. This is not Rock the Dragon. What's going on? Turns out that was the original Japanese score, and it was great. It was still good. They, of course, chopped up the OP, the animations in front of it and whatnot, but that didn't change anything. It was still a quality piece of music. But over there on the side, oh, One Piece, we had our English dub from Funimation. It also had their own pretty decent theme song, which some of you may not agree because it was rap, but as a black kid, I was like, yo, yo ho ho, and a piece of gum gum. I was all into it, I just was. But then later I heard the original, and I'm like, yo, this is great too. I don't even know what it was called. It was good. It really carried things along. But of course, because One Piece is so freaking long, it goes through several iterations of songs. And none of them ever really hit that same height as the original. And so for that reason, I'm just going to give it over to Swish, a Dragon Ball Zizzle for the win for music. I mean, you think of things like Vegeta's Atonement. I don't know if that's what it's called, but it's kind of a thing where Vegeta decides to sacrifice himself for everyone else because he realizes that he has something to live for beyond just his own pride. And that song that swells as a song as the moment happens, it stays with you seemingly forever. And while there are moments like that in One Piece, it's more about the moments and not necessarily the music. But for this, the music took center stage. It was a great moment, but without that music, it wouldn't be the same. And for that reason, Dragon Ball Z wins the anime debate for music. Now, let me take a moment and just talk about fights, because fights are important to both of these. They're shonen, of course. Let's also talk about comedy in one bucket, fighting and comedy. I don't know why I put them together, I just do. It's my show. You can pick what you want when you get your own show. So, for fights, I'll say that Luffy and One Piece have better boss battles, but the in-between battles are kind of lackluster. In Dragon Ball Z, almost every fight that you witness is awesome. Every single fight is amazing, and you're lucky you get to see it. I can't say that same thing for One Piece. But over on the side of comedy, though, I laugh out loud a lot in One Piece. I just do. Like, there are a lot of moments that are written expertly. I know that Dragon Ball Z can be quirky at times. They have their moments here and there. But just the timing and the way they pull off a lot of these less serious moments is just better done. So if we're going to split these two in half, Dragon Ball Z is going to win fights. Just, quality over quantity. And One Piece is going to win comedy. And that brings us to our final verdict of the night. But before we get there, I want you to know that this show is made possible by you guys over at Patreon, who it just makes me so happy to know that people want to see me make this kind of stuff and they want to support me. I'm not going to tell you to go there and support my Patreon. Link in the description down below if you want to do that. But ultimately, I just want to say thank you to everybody out there that wanted to see Animated Debate succeed. Without you, there would be no me, and I appreciate you. If you want to see me make other anime debates, just do me a favor and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you want to see. I'll probably make it. Talk down below. Your opinion matters. And give the video a like. The more likes I get, the more likely people will see this stuff, and the more I can grow. So just help me out. Help a brother out. I'm not asking for your money or your ducats. I'm just asking for your love and your finger wagglings. Just please like the video, type some stuff. That's all I ask. All right, let's move into the verdict. So both of these shows are amazing. Both of these shows are done to a point where other anime can barely even compare. When you look at Crunchyroll right now, you see what is the most popular things in the world? Dragon Ball Super and One Piece. Consistently. All the freaking time. Because they're both amazing shows. But only one can be the best. When it comes down to it, the most important thing for me for these kind of anime is development. And being able to pull together a cohesive story and something that you actually care about. Now, One Piece is plagued with filler because it's so freaking long. And it has lots of pacing issues. But you know what? So does Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z's pacing issues are historic. Entire episodes dedicated to grunting and wasting time with things you don't care about. That happens in One Piece, but not to that extent. You have the music that's iconic. You have the animation that holds it all together. You have the voice acting, both in the sub and the dub. of both of these shows. And I have a hard time telling you that one is better than the other. But because I made the mandate for this season of Anime Debate that I cannot have any ties at the verdict, and I have to pick one, although Dragon Ball Z heavily influenced One Piece, One Piece learned the lessons from its father. And it is the better show. Most people don't watch this show because it's so freaking long and there's so many episodes it feels impossible to catch up. But I'll tell you that it's worth it. Find a guide and find out what episodes are essential and watch them. You will not regret it. No, each fight is not as epic. But the level of feels you get, and they're real feels. Feels that make you go, man, I want to be a pirate. Man, I want to be, friends with these guys. Man, I want a connection. The power of friendship. All of it comes together in a way that Dragon Ball just can't pull off. They're currently in the arc of a second series that is nowhere near as good as the original. But One Piece is still going strong in a span of years, which is unimaginable. The fact that they can be consistent that much is amazing. And a testament to the hard work put in by these people. And because of that, One Piece wins the Anime Debate. Now, if you don't agree with me, let me know by letting me know down below. I love comments. I respond to everybody. And if you like the video, you like the time I put into the video, give me a thumbs up. And let me know what you want to see me compare next on the next Anime Debate.